Tropical Storm Maton nearing the coast of southern China. So, Tropical Storm Maton is currently located over the South China Sea, around 250 kilometers south of Hong Kong right now, making its closest approach. It's at 20.2 degrees north, 114.8 degrees east, and still moving west-northwestwards. At 9 p.m. Hong Kong time, this August 24th, it was located at, its wind speeds were 65 miles per hour, 105 kilometers per hour, with a central pressure of around 986 millibars, moving west-northwest at 12 miles per hour. Still a small chance that it becomes a typhoon later on as it approaches land, but chances are decreasing. Here it is right now with its wind field, which has expanded a little bit since it crossed through Luzon, the Philippines, the other day, and is now blowing out 115 nautical miles on the northeastern side. There are orange typhoon warnings for various parts of China: Zhuhai, Yangjiang, Maoming and Zhanjiang in China particularly. It is currently 242 kilometers from Hong Kong, 250 from Macau, 357 from Guangzhou, 473 from Zhanjiang and 933 from Hanoi in Vietnam. Number 8 warnings are in effect for Hong Kong, and number 3 warning in effect right now for Macau. So the primary hazard is still flooding from this storm. Up to 250 millimeters of rainfall is expected in parts of the Leizhou peninsula and in parts of northern Vietnam. Flash flooding, a significant possibility also for these areas, with more prolonged flooding issues the largest concern as the storm passes through, particularly in Vietnam. So that is on tap pretty soon when the storm moves through tomorrow. Here it is right now with its wind field, and let's take a look at how that evolves. And you can see that the storm dies off pretty quickly when it moves through towards Indochina and through northern Vietnam, and it dissipates not far from Hanoi in just a couple of days, actually, by the end of the week. And then what's left of the remnant energy will continue to persist a little bit further to the west-northwest as rain. Maximum sustained winds 65 miles per hour, JMA much higher at 80, JTWC sticking with us, and Pegasa also just a tad shy of 65. ADT is what's bringing this down, much lower values, not even 60 miles per hour on there. So satellite is not as impressive as the storm's intensity is, if that makes sense. And you can see the JTWC cone on the left hand side there as well. Let's take a look at a close-up of that, and you can see here that they are not expecting any further intensification, so they think it's done and it will start to weaken as it reaches the coast of China. They're expecting a landfall there not far from Zhanjiang, I think it was, and then moving towards the west-northwest well inland and just about entering northern Vietnam there. This is the GFS model, and you can see that not much else happens on that forecast there. It continues west-northwestwards, pretty much what the JTWC forecast said. But like I said, there's still an outside chance that it reaches typhoon status and gets itself going a little bit more. And the GFS appears to might be supporting that. Unfortunately, once again, I can't see the graphics that I'm supposed to be describing, so it makes life a little bit more difficult. Here is the water vapor imagery, and I imagine you'll be seeing lots of yellow areas up until the landfall. Those are the areas where you'll see where we have the highest moisture signatures, so those are the areas we'll be watching out for potential very high rain rates underneath high convective tops, and that will probably continue right up until landfall. That can particularly happen with sheared storms as well, like this one, near the boundary of the wind shear, where the thunderstorms are being pushed up all on top of each other. So you may well see in some areas near the center of the storm very high amounts of rain rate, which could cause significant issues. And here are the rainfall totals. Once again, this graphic I can't see, so I'm going off memory when I compiled it earlier. I believe we are still expecting somewhere close to 10 inches of further rainfall. That's 250 millimeters, mainly for parts of the Leizhou Peninsula, maybe into southern Guangdong, and towards the border with Vietnam and northern Vietnam. I believe it was still on for 6 or 7 inches there as well, at least, which is 150 millimeters. So we're looking out for significant rain amounts. This could happen quite quickly in terms of timeline, so there is that potential for flash flooding. Sea surface temperatures are currently, if I remember rightly, around 29 or 30 degrees Celsius, and I believe in some little areas temperatures are pushing 32 degrees just off the Leizhou Peninsula and in part of the Gulf of Tonkin. So very warm sea surface temperatures, which might just make the difference and could strengthen this storm just a little bit before landfall. Whether or not it becomes a typhoon, that's going to be the big question for the next 24 hours, apart from where it will make landfall. So here's the satellite imagery of the storm, and you can see once again that big blow up of convection, although it's not particularly well organized as you would expect from a potential typhoon candidate. And indeed, towards the northeastern side there, not too far from being an exposed circulation, at least partially. So wind shear is doing a number on it right now, and it would appear that this storm is probably not going to intensify very much more before landfall. Still could reach typhoon status as it does so, but time is starting to run out for Tropical Storm Maton. Here's another look at the water vapor imagery, and you can just take a look at some of those locations marked on the map for your bearings. And you can see that Hong Kong is on the dry side, so they've not received a huge amount of rain from this storm yet. It is mostly displaced to the southern side, and it looks like that is set to continue. A close-up of the storm itself, the central core of it, with guidance towards Hainan and the Leizhou Peninsula, and you can see there that Hainan is under one of those big bands, so probably receiving quite a lot of rainfall right now. And there is a big blow up of convection to the northwest of the center as well, over southern China, westernmost Guangdong province, and you can see probably quite high rain rates there right now. And finally, the RAM floater imagery showing the storm once again. This is the imagery that one of our favorites, and you can see how the storm has progressed throughout the course of the last 12 hours or so, and you can see there it was struggling a bit for a while before that recent blow up in convection, but I must say it's looking pretty sheared, and it's I would say even it's struggling a bit as it continues west-northwestwards towards the coast of China. And finally, a wide shot here showing all of the activity. You can see both Maton and Typhoon Takage moving off the coast of Japan, still looking decent there. And you can actually take a look at the inflow from Maton there. In from the South China Sea further south. It's got quite a large amount of influence, but it is wind shear that's currently doing a bit of a number on this storm as it approaches China. Rainfall is still expected to be quite substantial, so we're going to continue to monitor this storm closely with more updates on the way.